gratitude. Saying simple mantras, affirmations. Our words, our thoughts have power. So I was pulled to share this with you today. There will be keywords, and there will be sentences. So whatever resonates with you, use that moving forward to help you work through whatever it is you're working through. So, when we're concentrating on gratitude, we say, I am grateful for receiving ... whatever that is for you. I am grateful for receiving clarity. I am grateful for receiving compassion. I'm grateful for receiving openness. I am grateful for receiving darkness. I am grateful for receiving gratitude. I am grateful for receiving attitude of gratitude. And then we can move on to another one that has helped me. By the way, this was written down, some in 2022, some in 2020, so use it from what you will. I don't remember. A lot of times I tag if it's from people. So it was either mine or it was from somebody else and I didn't tag it. But okay, so the next one we're going to work with is letting go. So the mantra would be, I am letting go of ... So let's say I am letting go of judgment. I am letting go of the past. I am letting go of my addictive behaviors. I am letting go of denial. And of course, you can put in anything that you want. These are just examples that helped me. Okay, then the next one is, what does my soul want to tell me today? What does my soul want to tell me today? What does my soul want to tell me today? Okay? And working with that, what's so powerful about that is you're connecting, to your higher self. I would suggest doing this in a meditative form, getting really quiet and still in nature if you can. But, noise canceling headphones are really good. Or if there is some type of music or something that you really like that soothes your soul and helps you to remember. Some people remember things more when they are listening to music, right? So if you hear the music in your head while you're meditating, and you can look at your paper and then meditate with it. You know what I mean? So look at the paper, I'm letting go of, then close your eyes and keep saying that sentence, I'm letting go of, I am grateful for receiving, whatever the line is. What does my soul want to tell me today? I don't know what this is in my notes that I found here, but it's in with little asterisks, and it says started crying. So okay, maybe that means, well, I probably did when I was going through this. But what they're trying to say is that you may have moments of that, right, where you will start crying and you will have a breakdown, and it's so beautiful because you know what, Star Family, you're having a breakthrough. Breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. When I just looked up, I saw 357. So that is the angel number for us to work with today in this session. So the next words that are on here are, let go of the past, let go of the future, please live in the now. Right now is all there is. Let go. And if you're having a difficult time letting go of something or someone, because people don't realize, what their gifts are, and if they're abusing their gifts, manipulating, gaslighting, love bombing, all those things, if they're doing things like that, and a lot of people are actually very unaware of this. Okay, so just remember that. Send them back love and do a cord cutting ceremony. You are allowed to rip up a soul contract if you are done with somebody If you gave them as much time as you're willing to give, then you go in and you sit with Spirit again, get quiet, get still. There are a lot of cord cutting subliminals out there. Steve Noble has some good ones. If Spirit draws me to put one, I will either put it in the description box, the comments, or in the community section. Always look in those areas because Spirit sometimes has me put little Easter eggs for you guys, as my birthday sister would say. Okay, so do you hear that? Like, do you hear what they're saying? So you need to release and let this go, and let these people go, and let the past go. There was many people throughout my lifetime, I had no idea that they had so much power over me. And then I had this breakthrough yesterday when I was having listen to that. My throat chakra cleared up because I had a moment when I was speaking with other people where I was like, oh my gosh, as I was explaining something to them, I realized I was telling them that I allowed this person to take my power. And it was funny because they were mirrors back to me. And I realized, I started to laugh and I'm like, no one can take my power away. And all of a sudden I felt so strong. I felt so empowered. I also just saw the number 7. If that means anything to anybody. Okay, so even in that moment, I realized I took my power back. And I gave them their power back. Because I am stealing people's power too sometimes without realizing it. And if you found yourself here, you are probably doing the same. So it's good for us to do the smudgings of our homes, our bodies, and all that. But we also have to do like our soul smudging and cord cutting and ripping up soul contracts. Like, you know, some soul contracts, you serve it to its duration and people just fade away from your life and it's natural and everything's good. And then you have some people who were the controlling ones or the manipulators, you know, and they wanted that power over you. And once they realize they don't have that power over you anymore, right, then it's a game changer. But you have to relinquish that connection, because sometimes we hold on to that connection because we think, oh, you know, we hope for the best, especially if you found yourself here, right? Like, you're someone who loves and loves people. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying to improve yourself, because you're improving yourself so that, you know, by you're setting an example. By improving yourself, you're improving the collective. And I love you, and Spirit loves you, and we're so proud of you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this tribe, this collective, this group of souls. You know, we're here to lift each other up, cheer each other on, and remind each other when we have to release and let go and relinquish that pain and suffering that no longer belongs to us. So when I started crying, like I said, let go of the past, let go of the future. Please live in the now. Right now is all there is. Let go. And then I said, just let me go. And then I heard, don't be a zebra. And then I heard, talking to your teenage self. Change your stripes at will and wherever. Be who you are, where you are. You got this. I believe in you. And at the end it says, what does my soul want to tell me today? Right? Like another, by the way, I'm not going to do it, but I kind of like want to burp, or like, I have this thing where as a medium, I can feel like, you know, I always ask Spirit, not always, but a lot of times, most of the time in my mornings, I'll say, Spirit, how may I serve today? How may I help? Sometimes it's just myself. Sometimes it's for the collective. But in any case, what I'm finding is that the love of self is the most important, and the shadow is going to keep coming for you. And when you are at your weakest and when you are at your most fragile is when they come. Those are when the tests are presented. A great warrior once told me, thank you, Shanna, the white buffalo. And research the white buffalo spirit medicine, because if you found yourself here today, you are a white buffalo too. And you know, there was a white buffalo calf born, I don't know if it was this year or the year before. Right now, in real time, we're in 2024. But that was a massive like gift and blessing to the indigenous people, not just the Native American. That's like something that's like, now all indigenous people that want to be connected are connected, right? We're seeing that this kind of like this very interesting, energy that has happened throughout time. Right now, the quote unquote white man is the one that, is like, I'm the ruler, right? But if you talk to the Asian cultures, you talk to the, um, um, so many countries came to mind. I can't even, like, I mean, so many continents, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so many. But this has shifted and changed throughout time and history. Why do you think we have archaeologists digging shit up? To prove that there was life here, to prove that there was something else here before. If you ever watch Ancient Aliens or shows like that, or these groups of archaeologists that film, their sites, right? I forget what they call them. Their digs. They film it so you can watch it be unearthed. And they have said, there are so many structures that they're like, there is literally nothing on Earth right now, nothing else on Earth that we are aware of can make those cuts in those stones but a laser. They're like, so you can believe this or you can believe that. Ooh, when I look down, it's 11:24. Right? But, there's so much I can make with that, so I'll let you decipher that on your own. But there's so much that is happening on the planet right now. And these false gods, these false religions, these false belief systems, they were set in place for a reason, obviously, right? Like, we can't get it twisted. That is part of us. That's who we are. That's what's happening. However, those of us who are present in this ceremony right now, in these downloads, in these manifestation downloads for us, these mantras to help push us forward through these very dark paths so we can be illuminated and be the bright lights that we were brought here to be. In order for us to be this, we must go through uncharted territory, uncharted waters. This is just the way of the warrior. The interesting thing is, what has shifted now and what the age of Aquarius has done is now we are in the process of illumination, meaning that the more you stay in a high vibration and the more you pull yourself away from the darkness, blood and bone included, those who are still in shadow, those who may never ever change in this lifetime. I don't care if you have a child, a niece and nephew, I don't care if they're 8 years old and you're like, oh, but I love them, I love them, I love them. But they're nasty. Or their parents are, they're nasty because they're parents, by the way. When I say nasty, I mean like ungracious, ungrateful, judgmental, all these things, bigotry. That's taught. We can see with our own eyes all over the internet the angels that have burst from the seams of all ages. Those who are new on the scene, those who burst through in the age of Aquarius, those who were here before the age of Aquarius, who suffered deeply and were on a much darker, much denser plane. The age of Aquarius brought in the light, and it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. We are not going to go back to the dark ages. That we were literally in the dark ages. From my understanding, from my experience, from all of my learnings, my teachings, my expansions, my growth, my channelings through all different solar systems, just the billions of energies and entities that are out there, there is so much that has not been unsurfaced or uncovered yet. And they want us to understand that. I'm channeling right now, by the way, if you haven't felt that. The things that are already here are what they want us to be happy about and be excited about. Like, what makes us joyful? What makes us happy? So go inward. Think about this. We're all energy. So if you're going to sacrifice yourself to give something to somebody else, you're going to sacrifice your energy, you're going to sacrifice all of these things. Your joy, your happiness, to bring joy and happiness to others, even though you're suffering. That is not an act of grace. That's lack of self-care. And in real time today is August 30th, 2024. And I've been through a really tough summer. So tough. One of the most prolifically challenging seasons in my 52 human years on this planet. As I'm moving into my 53rd year. I'm in my 53rd year because I'll turn 53 in December, which is so funny because it's number 8. And with the 888s this month, and I realize what a magical being I really am. And my birthday is on Friday the 13th this year in December, which is always really awesome for me and such a blessing. And I'm so excited to see what unfolds between now and then. So you're going to see a lot of things change on my channels and me, because as the summer is wrapping up, it's in autumn, and as we're nearing fall equinox, I'm feeling the death, the true death of my old self, and saying goodbye to old ghosts in a way that I wasn't quite sure how to manage or sift through. And I'm still working on it. That's why you notice I've taken a break. I put a message in my shorts that my mother had passed away. She passed away on August 18th, 2024, right before the full moon in Aquarius. All that energy, it was so intense, and she was so witchy. Ah. And ever since she's crossed over, I'm literally integrating more, because as the ancestors cross over, I integrate their gifts. It's part of my process and my purpose here. I am the one in my family that is stopping the pain, the suffering, the tragedy, the false gods, all that bullshit. My mother gave her life for all of us in so many ways, and it's really powerful. So with that being said, there's just going to be a lot more happening and a lot more unearthing, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you guys. But in the meantime, do your best to stay in a high vibration and joyful things, real true joyful things, and laugh, watch comedies. Don't, every once in a while we all need a little shake up, right? Like a murder mystery or, whatever, right? Just show us humanity, right? But right now, with the way things are going in this election year in the United States, it's rippling throughout the world, right? Because the world we're not the only ones that are going through not just elections, but just other things, unearthings that are happening all over the world, right? This is that moment that it's I said yesterday to my friend, I was like, I think it's interesting that we are in this place where people will believe in hate more than they'll believe in love. But it's loss of love that brings in the hate. Do you feel me? That's the sad part. So that's why we have to take the high road. We have to rise above. We have to be the warriors and the angels. However, we don't have to be the warriors anymore, meaning we don't have to do the flogging, the self-abuse, the self-torture. That was taught to us. If you love me, you'll do this. If you love me, you'll be this. If you really loved mom, you'd come home and say goodbye to her. I did say goodbye to my mom. I did say goodbye to my family. They just didn't listen. So, as I'm integrating this powerful beast, my mother, and I say that with pleasure and pride because I mean it, she is old. And I always felt that. That's why I was always so confused, because my mom was like this oracle of knowledge and took, like, she was the one that took everything down from the ancestors. Oh, my mama says, or my grandma says, or Aunt Billy used to say, or, Uncle Guy used to say, or, like these things that, from her childhood, from her lineage, from her teachings. And I listened. And I have them. And I have the stories. Because I wanted to know. And I had the pleasure to spend weeks with my mother, just me and her, in the Pacific Northwest, as we traveled all over Oregon and Washington, and I took her to all my favorite places, all these magical places. She had the most magical trip, and sadly it ended on a sour note. So I allowed things to keep going the way they were going, even though I kept telling them, I need some time alone. I need some time away from the family. I was working on my novel really diligently. And, I said, I need the space. I need the space. But then when I was excited and I wrote like 18,000 words and it was like, holy shit, this is really happening, I wanted to tell my mom, the writer, the poet, the beacon of light. It was hard. It was the hardest thing I ever did. And then my stepfather got sick and I couldn't be there for him. And it broke my heart. And the last conversation I had with my mom was the day that he died. And it was the most bizarre but beautiful conversation I think we've ever had. And it went over 6 hours. Being a telepathic medium and my mom being what she is and her defenses and her walls really down. There was a truth and a connection there that we've never experienced. And I know she knows in her heart that was our last conversation. And when she died, well, I'll back up. I found out in June from a family member that she was sick. But I already knew she was sick. I felt it months before. And then when she passed, I went through so much. I'm still processing it. It was only 12 days ago. But every day has been a gift, and every day has been different. And it's been so difficult, but it's been so beautiful. And my connection to the ancestors and to my mother has set my soul free in a way that I wasn't even aware that my soul needed to be free. So I urge you, with all that you are, and all that you are meant to be and were brought here to be, you have free will. You don't have to do it. You can step aside and say, I'm done. I'm through it. I don't want to do this anymore. You can hit the door, say bye. But if you're here right now, your light is still there, whether you're searching for it or not. But if it's just a speck right now, I urge you, if it's baby steps, or you blow it wide open and let the light in, cry, release, so it can begin. But putting off the inevitable won't help. Trust me. I know from experience. That's why I'm here now, to teach you guys. And to have more lenience towards yourself, towards your heart, towards your soul. It is time to let it free and let it go. Find the joy and let that flow, because that's what we need right now. You like to knit? You like to macrame? Make stuff. Sell it. Start a channel, show people how to make stuff. I'm telling you, whatever you were brought here to do, whether it's singing, art, maybe you always wanted to be a surgeon. Do it. We have all of these different professions for a reason. But it's not about like, oh, I have billions of dollars and you have nothing and you're starving to death. That is not Earth. That is somewhere else. So, as you can hear how my voice dipped down, we love our shadow. We confront and love our shadow. I love you, shadow. I love my shadow. You must love your shadow, but you must go through the shadow. You must go through the dark night of the soul. Maybe you're just starting. Maybe you're in the middle of it. Maybe you're at the end of it. Maybe you're long past it. Maybe you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But research dark night of the soul. Work with your shadow. If you were brought here, you were brought here for a reason. But there's no shame. We all have addictions, and we all have blame, and we all have shame, and it's not meant to be ours. It's old. It's old programming from the old world. So stick with me, kid. Because Spirit has so much more to unfurl. Right? And when I say that, I'm the medium. Right? I'm the magical medium. This is just your higher self connecting, my higher self connecting with the outer realms. They're just here to give us messages of love and strength and support, companionship, community. We're not alone. You're not alone. And you know, I realized yesterday I had this really magical experience. We have many laundromats all over where I live. But I was really drawn to this one. And I at first I was like, oh yeah, because it kind of has a sailor vibe and I live in a port town. So I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, I've lived in port towns before. I have sailor type tattoos, you know, so, you know, really whatever. But I'm also kind of a clean freak and a perfectionist. And so I'm definitely somebody in a laundry room status or laundromat status that would go for the fancier, you know, whatever's more efficient, whatever's going to clean my stuff better, that kind of thing. Oh my goodness. So I was drawn to this laundromat yesterday. And I said, I want to go in first. I just have this feeling. I want to go in first. So I have to tell you, beyond the sailor vibe that it had, the second thing I loved about it was that every year they frame the first sock that's left in a dryer. They frame it. And they've been there forever. And one of the people that work there, I was talking to yesterday, and he's like, my mom worked here like 20 plus years ago. I'm like, that's awesome. You know, so it's like, I love that kind of like world, that kind of community, that kind of, you know, the generational bond of family and community. I've always loved that, which is why I stayed in my family longer than I was welcome. And why I tried so hard to be whatever I could be to please them, you know. And then when I, you know, became my real self, knew I had to go because that wasn't going to work. At least not now. But anyway, but the third thing that sold me on it was they had a fucking Zoltar machine. And those of you who know that it's been my thing forever that I say, I'm not a fucking Zoltar machine. Right? Like, because people they don't want to donate or contribute, even though I put links up, even though, you know, it's like you can get a reading with me. And whenever people want to get a reading with me, I don't mind doing a trade. I love bartering and trading if it feels right. But what frustrates me is when people want to barter and trade money, meaning like, they'll tell me, it's funny because I'm a telepathic medium, so they'll like tell me certain things and I'm like, you realize like you're telling me and I'm seeing your whole thing, and then they like spend money so frivolously, but then when it comes to me they want to shortchange me, and I'm like, that's interesting. It's actually a sign of disrespect. But the irony is when I was studying, I did the same thing to my teachers and my shamans. What goes around comes around. It's karma. Because I was in my ego. I wasn't understanding. It took me years. I mean, I made up for it as much as I could, at least with my one. The other one I lost touch with, but I definitely made up for it. And I pray all the time, but for them. But you know what I mean? It's like, there's just something about that kind of exchange of energy that's so interesting. And that's why I would get frustrated and say, I'm not a Zoltar machine. You can't just like put a $1 in me and, or sure, you can give me $1 and I'll give you like one piece of advice, right? But it's like, if you want to sit with me and, you know, and work with the teachings of spirit, and look at your past, present, and future with spirit, and that's a very sacred act. It's a very sacred thing. So it's an exchange of energy. The prayers are wonderful. Prayers of abundance, it really does help. Prayers of success, it doesn't always have to be monetary or a physical thing. It's just sending good energy, lighting candles, for healing and love and happiness and abundance in my life, in my family, that kind of thing. So whatever we put out into the world comes back to us. So if you're holding too tightly to things or people or whatever, this is your sign from spirit to let them go. Also, when I looked down at the time, it was 30:21. Ooh, which is, okay, I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, so interesting. There's a lot more to come, and a lot more lessons will be spoken and presented. And I'm very, very excited to see how this all works and how this all, runs through. But I hope that this helped you in any way. I've just been working with spirit today and not 100% like having a plan. I'm just kind of going with the flow of things, and that's really where the magic and the medicine comes from, is when we're in the moment of it. And also spirit said, it's okay to be in the memories of things, just don't live in them. Have a memory and let it be a warm thing that you smile about. If it's a memory that gives you grimace or sadness, that's when they want you to work through it, finding out why. I mean, obviously, right? If something horrific happened to you, you don't have to know why, but you still need to work through it. Because as hard as it is to accept this, we chose everything we do is a choice from the time we open our eyes until the time we close them and sleep. And even when we're sleeping, we make choices. We can make choices in our dream state. We can astral travel, but we must be mindful. We must absolutely have awareness. And when we're feeling ungrounded and untethered, that's when we pull ourselves away. So yesterday, I walk into this laundromat and I look around, and I would say at least half the machines were not working. But the laundromat itself had charm. Every single washer and dryer had a name. And if it was out of service, it had an explanation why. But in like a cute way, like Walter went out for a walk, he'll be back later. And I was like, and I just got high before I went, but I also had a really sad conversation before. It was just I was in a really weird place. That's conversations for another day. But anyway, I just felt like I needed to be there. It felt like the Island of Misfit Toys. And you guys know how much I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys and all that good stuff. And my God, if my family ever hears this message, I pray that they keep or donate all the things in my boxes that I left at my mom's. I may have to just like message somebody, because I know I'm not meant to go and get them, even though I want to go so bad. But I know I'm not supposed to go, and that has been so hard for me. I said my goodbyes, and I'm done for now with that part of my life. Maybe forever, I don't know, but I know for now I cannot go backward. I have to move forward. For now, in this moment, I mean, anything can change tomorrow, anything, you know what I mean? But I had this really cool collection. It was so cool that one of my friends was like, dude, I've never said this to anybody in my life, and I can't believe I'm saying this to you. She's like, but if you die before I do, she's like, will you please put that collection in your will to me, please? I promise I will cherish it, and I will make sure it goes to the right people. Because I had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer like action figures. They only came out for a very short period of time, and I got all of them except for Yukon Cornelius. I think is the only one. I don't remember. It's been a really long time, or maybe I have him. There was one I didn't have, but I had everything else. I even had the furry Bumble. But yeah, and I used to make a scene every year, like a little like Christmas scene with them. Anyway. I just really hope that they get passed on and not in like some dumpster, but I don't think they will. Anyway, I digress. So, right, because they're just things, and I don't have an attachment to them. And maybe, who knows, maybe they will end up in a landfill, and for some reason, one of the toys will break off somewhere, and somebody will get, the elephant, the spotted elephant. You know what I mean? Anyway, I had this moment when I was in the laundromat and I was like, these are my people. And I had that moment where I was like, you know what? This is where I need to be to help people. And I realized I love this place. I love where I live. And I feel like I was brought here to help reunite the magic, because this place was once very witchy and very magical. And over time, it's been overrun by very wealthy people who can afford it. So I don't care how much money you have as long as you're here for respect. But don't come. My biggest thing is I get frustrated when people move into, like, parasitically move into places and try and take over. That's what I don't like. That is what does not feel good. Meaning, like, this area was filled with magic and witches and healing, and it was a very interesting place. It was a port town, right? So it's been around since the 1800s, the early 1800s, early to mid 1800s, I believe. I need to take the walking tour. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I really need to because I think it'd be so fun to do. Oh, you know what? I should do it for the fall. That'll be really fun. Anyway, because it's so witchy. But now it's like become like very right wing, if you know what I mean. And it's interesting. And I can feel that that's not the energy that belongs here. And the witchy, really beautiful white light fairies that I've met here are like, I'm so glad you're here. You know what I mean? And then I've had other people who are like, well, this place either takes you in or it spits you out. Meaning, like, I don't know, not everybody can make it here. And I've seen a lot of people, whatever, or people who are like, they're taking over. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I was like, all right, it's time to bring the magic. It's time to bring the medicine. And I told my partner the other day, I said, I really do feel like I'm meant to have a brick and mortar. I don't know where. I don't know if it's in this town proper or like somewhere near here or somewhere. I don't know what's going to happen, but very, 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 very interesting to see what happens. But it's time to follow your path like that, you guys. I've moved so many times, like I think 30 times now. I think I've moved like 30 times in 52 years. And it wasn't because I was some unstable, like, my family was like, you're a gypsy. And I was like, well, I will take that as a compliment, you know? So it's because I have always been meant to bring the medicine and get the medicine so that I can keep moving the medicine on, right? So maybe I'm only here for a few more months. Maybe I'm here for years. Maybe I'm going to settle down here. I don't know. But it's the same for you. There's a reason why you found yourself here today. And I hope that these mantras and these illuminations and these thoughts and these downloads and these channeled messages from Spirit, I pray that they help you in any way, shape, or form. And until next time, I love you so much. Spirit loves you so much. Please take good care of yourself. Choose yourself first. It does not make you selfish. It makes you strong. Because the stronger you are, the more you can hold space for yourself and for the community. And make sure that your community is there to rise up with you, lift you up, not tear you down, not sabotage you, not steal your magic and your mojo. When you're ready, you can bring the medicine and the magic to those who want it. But you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. Stop. What I heard from Spirit was stop trying to force feed people your light, your power, and your magic. It's draining you. This could be maybe it's for just one person. Maybe it's just for me. I don't know. But it's draining you. So, self-care right now. Okay? Oh, I just realized something, you guys. It's August 30th, 2024. That's right. So in real time, we are just one day away from September. And you know what that means? It's Self-Care September, baby. It's Self-Care September. So until next time.